Hi everyone, I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and Monday is my birthday, so I thought it was time to finally cast on for a project that I bought myself back on Mother's Day. I will be knitting the Trace Hilados Shawl designed by Fatima Hinds with yarn from LolaBean Yarn Co. And I am so unbelievably excited. There were two different kit colors for this pattern, but I opted to go with the more Adela colorway with the yellows and greens and browns instead of the blue, pink, and gray colorway that otherwise I might have gone for, because I just really love the way these three pair together. And I'm going to talk more about what is so genius about this design and why I was really inspired. Trace Hilados means three yarns. And that is one of the things that makes this pattern so spectacular, is that it takes advantage of using three completely different types of yarn bases. All of these LolaBean Yarn Co. yarns are DK weight, but they differ in the construction and fiber content and even yardage. I'll share the fiber contents in a minute, but we have a chain ply here, a Donegal DK, we've got some neps, and then we've got a speckled yak silk blend as well. The yak silk blend is 60% superwash merino, 20% yak, and 20% silk. And this is the Mung bean base. The cocoa bean base is 85% superwash merino, 15% Donegal nep. And then the Cannellini bean is 100% superwash merino, but this is the chain ply yarn. And normally, if I didn't have a pattern encouraging me to do so, I never would have mixed these three bases together. I think Fatima said that part of the design came from going to yarn shows, and sometimes you have a single skein of a lot of different yarn, and then what can you do with it? And so often I try to keep yarn that is the same fiber content, yardage, construction together. And so mixing these three skeins is going to be so fun. The pattern is so gorgeous, and hopefully this will inspire me to look at my stash differently moving forward as I consider what bases to combine. Because especially when it's like a shawl or scarf or something, it's not a garment that you might wash in the washing machine where shrinkage could be an issue. So you can play with three completely different bases. And these look amazing together. As part of the Mother's Day launch, Fatima, who is Disturbing the Fleece on Instagram, was doing a fundraiser for Black Mamas Matter Alliance, and I will give that organization a link down in the video description as well. But now I need to go cake the yarn. The yarn is all caked up, and I don't think that I've shared the colorway names yet. The yak silk blend is Funny Bones. This chain ply olive green and gray is El Bosque. And then the Donegal nep colorway is Mustard Seed. And so I am very excited to cast on and start knitting with this yarn. This yarn is knitting up so pretty in person. I think it's showing up warmer toned on camera right now than it is on person, thanks to the very yellow light of my living room. But these speckles are fantastic. I just finished the first chart, and I think there's one more chart with this yarn before I swap to the next color. But I have to say, I am really enjoying this yak silk merino base, and I want to try to find some so I can dye some myself at some point because it is so soft. This, I think, is one of the first shawls I've ever made using DK weight. I could be wrong, but mostly I use fingering or lace weight. And I decided to go with size 9 knitting needles. I didn't bother checking my gauge because it's a shawl. And so if it's a little bit small, that's okay. But there's also, I like the I guess, depth and the density of the fabric. And it's still very flexible and should have a lot of ability to block it. So I don't think that that should be any kind of problem. I'm definitely interested in doing more like large shawl projects with DK and maybe even heavier weight yarn in the future. Not just because I have a lot of beautiful yarn in those weights that I would love to play with, but also because I think it goes a little bit faster, which can be really, really nice. But I would say that if you are new to reading charts or anything, this is a good pattern, I think, to try it with, because the charts are fairly simple and so it's easy to see the pattern and looking at your knitting to understand where the next stitches should go. I actually struggled knitting lace until I discovered charts, because I found like a row with a ton of written instructions really, really difficult to follow. So once I found a chart and I could visually look at it and then see what each stitch was doing relative to the row beneath it, that made it so much easier for me. And I really enjoy it. And also I find that, keeping track of your progress on a chart helps the project go a lot faster. But anyway, on to chart B. I'm not sure how many clips I'll film or how often I will check in on the project. I don't typically vlog a lot of my knitting projects, but I'm hoping that doing this will encourage me to take some more time for my knitting and then hopefully some spinning again, just like I have with the weaving. And I don't know, please let me know what you think about it down in the comments. I'm having a lot of fun just sharing my progress. I feel like in an earlier clip I called this color a gray. It's really more of a cool toned brown, with then the speckles are like this warm camel color and then black, I think. It's my birthday and I have a big bundle of princess balloons right here. I like that there's Rapunzel. She is a crafter. She likes arts and crafts, so that feels good, but there's loads of other princesses. Anyway, though, I think I mentioned the other day I wasn't sure if there were written instructions for the charts, and there are. The written instructions for each chart are near to where the chart is located in the pattern. So I did want to mention that in case any of you are interested in trying it out but aren't chart fans. But I recommend giving charts a try, because I think that once you get used to, I know not everyone's brains work the same way, but I think that the spatial way that the information is organized is so handy. I think that in the light right now, the color change section is not that dramatic. Oh, maybe because that yarn's variegated, maybe over here, you can see a little better, but I love doing pearls with color changes because I think it really like highlights the shifts. I love just the way that the purl bumps sort of blend things together. I don't know, that just really excites me. And it's so simple yet deliberate, the way that the color change is done to highlight. And we're now moving from our yak silk merino blend to, I forget if this is just merino or merino nylon, but it's the chain ply one, which is also really, really soft. But this yak blend is so luxurious. I'm so glad this is the one closest to the neck. I want more of this base. Like, this is, I think I like this more than just merino silk blends. Like, this base is so luxurious. It's amazing. I feel like this whole project is just going to fly by. I mean, I'm sure I'm not maybe only about a third done because I've just done the first section, but it's only been a couple days. Man, this reminds me back pre-kids when I did like 13 shawls in 2012. Or did I do 13 in 2013? I maybe did 13 in 20. I tried to do 12 in 2012, or maybe I started late, and then I think I did 13 in 2013. I used to do a lot of shawls and projects and do gifts like that. I mean, all in the time pre-kids. I had so much time pre-kids, and not as much now. But I'm excited to, maybe dive back into some more complex lace work. I've really missed it, and this is a nice like project that I definitely can start and stop, and there's not a huge risk of dropped stitches, and I'm really excited. It's making me want to do lace in more heavier weights, which I'm also very excited about. I'm making some progress. One of my resolutions for 2020 is to try to dedicate more time for me to knit. And I did not do a great job in January, but now it's February, and so I'm actually trying to make a better effort. And actually, I found another knit along, a mystery knit along that I'm going to join in on, and I was dyeing yarn for that today. And so therefore, I'm like, okay, I would like to finish this before that starts on February 22nd. So I'm like, ooh, I have a deadline that's not a hard deadline. it's not a stressful deadline, but yeah, I think that that is something that actually helps because it means like, okay, let's just spend a little time every night. And I just pop on a podcast and knit some. And so, yeah, it's really fun. Not knitting as much is not because I don't enjoy this project. I really like this project. It is a very easy to follow knit. It's easy to watch a new movie and other things while doing it. It's just sometimes when I come and sit down, I'm like, oh, well, maybe I should, work on editing that video or something. And so I'm not allowing myself the time or prioritizing it really. It's that I need to prioritize it. And yeah, I'm excited to really like focus on that this year because it is one of my resolutions. And I mean, I got this for myself as a Mother's Day present and it'll be done before Mother's Day in 2022. I mean, hopefully it'll be done in a couple weeks. I'm starting to approach the final stretch. I have transitioned onto the last color and the pattern changes. And I really just like how things are placed. I'm really enjoying that things are both repeating, but not very repeating. Like the color transition here is a little different than the color transition there. And that's okay. I did find myself going back and checking the pattern to make sure that I hadn't like messed up somewhere, but I really am really enjoying it. And again, I don't know if I would have chosen to mix 3 really different construction, fiber content types of yarn together in one project. And so that is unbelievably exciting for me. And I mean, I need to get more of whatever this yarn base is, this yak silk base. This is incredible. I am in love. I like the other ones too, but this one just took my breath away. I am so close to the end. I think I have 2 more rows to go and then I'm ready to bind off. Oh, I am so excited. One quick note from section 3, the pattern had me stop at about here, but the sample photos, I think, had one more repeat of that section. So I actually started the end and then looked at it and decided I frogged back 2 rows to add one more, I guess, repeat of rows 3 through 6 of section 3. But yeah, that's just one little note. And I'm glad because I get to use a little bit more of this mustard colored yarn. I forget what the color name is. But anyway, I don't really want it to stop. I like just the geometric quality and stuff. I'm really, really enjoying it. I think that this may be the next project that I do. It's actually knit with 20 different colors, about 5 grams of each color, and is designed to use up every inch of the yarn. And so this is extraordinarily exciting to me, and I have a feeling I'll need to dye up something for it. There actually is one other project that I dyed to knit for that I'll be doing before I start that, but I really want to dye up this like fun rainbow yarn, and I need to think about what base I would want to do and break it down. But I think Fatima's like approach to not only using up yarn that you have in your stash and finding a way to use it and mix and match different yarn bases together and using that in the design process, plus doing something for little amounts of color so you use up all of the color you have and don't waste any inches of it, especially when you're dealing with such tiny micro skeins of yarn. I think that it is so wonderful, and I just really am enjoying Fatima's eye to design and knitwear. And so I've already purchased a few more patterns and I'm really, really excited to try them out. I bound off on 2/22/22, which is fun. Actually, is it 2 o'clock? Oh, it's almost 2 o'clock. Oh, I could have timed that a little bit better. But it's really cute. A little bit on the smaller side, but I did go down a needle size. And I also didn't check my gauge because it was a shawl, and I don't mind slightly smaller, more scarf length, but I'm also going to block it. And so I think it'll grow a fair amount during blocking. And you can see it definitely has a curled edge. I am team block your knits to give them that finished look, but it's super cozy, and until I'm ready and have a spot where I can go block it, I'll probably just wear it around like this because it's cozy. I just love the simple geometric character and how things shift from one section to another. I've just really, really enjoyed this so much that I didn't really want to finish. I did change my mind on one thing though. I am gonna weave in the ends after I block it. I typically like to do that because when you're blocking, if you've woven things in tightly, that could prevent the stitches from moving correctly. But ooh, you can really see how variegated this chain ply yarn is right there, as I'm not staying in frame, but it's cute. I went for a gentle blocking with this shawl next to the Death Star and all kinds of other kids' toys. I focused on, I guess, the top edge, which, you know, may have some waves, but I didn't stretch as far as I could, trying to keep track of like the point here at the end of the second color and towards the like tips of the shawl. But I really wanted to keep this outer mustard edge rounded, and I didn't want to block this edge too aggressively. I wanted it not to curl up, which we've done, but the little bind off giving us this like roundness border, I wanted to keep that texture because I really, really like it. I don't remember why I went down a needle size when I knit this from what the design said, and I think that the size 9s did great with this yak silk blend. The chain ply is a bit denser, and so I either knit tighter with it, so I think my gauge overall, just checking the stitches, is tighter. I think that if I were going to redo it, I would have gone up a needle size here, so that way I could have maintained the gauge a little bit better. But it's also just possible that I got tighter as things went on, but it's still beautiful, and I'm excited, and I love the pop of yellow. I don't think I have much in like this kind of yellow for myself, and so I'm really, really glad that I went for it. It's winter, so the shawl is really, really, really close to dry, but I'm probably going to wait at least another day before taking it off. I just unpinned it, and now I just have to weave in those last few loose ends. This is so cute. I need to figure out a better way. The shawl turned out so cute. The finished size is great. This is big enough for me, even though it's backwards, to just drape across my shoulders or to style in a number of different ways. I think that if I'd gone up the needle size, it definitely would have been bigger, but I tend to wear more shawlette size versus like full-on large shawl anyway. Yeah, I don't know if I would wear this with a striped shirt, but I actually don't mind it. I really like it, and again, the yarn is so soft, so soft. I think that I would personally probably style it a little bit more like this, a little bit more off-center versus having the triangle go immediately towards the front, or even wrapping it even tighter on the neck. Sometimes I might do like a knot around a side or something like that, especially if I'm using it for like warmth and I'm going to be layering it under a coat, then I might do something like that as well. Which this doesn't really show off the pretty pattern as much, and so that's why I think that if I was just going to style it to wear, I would do something more just like this, just very sort of like a little bit like a cowl, but again, a little bit off center because that's just the way I tend to do it. I am Rebecca from ChemKnits, and I hope that you enjoyed this knitting vlog as I talked about the journey and this project, even though it had nothing to do with yarn that I dyed myself. ChemKnits actually originally started as a blog where I talked about all of the different types of projects I was working on. It was my lab notebook to keep track of yardage and notes and yarn brands I used as I made things. In case I ever wanted to make a second one, I could go back and refer to that. And so it's really fun having that catalog of all of my projects in one place, except for the last few years because I've transitioned more to making videos. So I thought it would be fun to try this out and do more vlogs about the things that I am making for myself or for other people. Earlier, I shared another one of Fatima's designs that I am really excited to dye something up for and to knit in the future. But right now, I'm actually participating in a mystery knit along, and I dyed up some yarn of my own for working on that project. And I've only finished clue 1, still waiting for clue 2 to drop, but I'm really, really excited for it. So that will be its own video with the dyeing including, and some vlog of the knitting as well, just because I'm having fun sharing this and sort of cataloging my journey with these projects. So please make sure you're subscribed to the ChemKnits Tutorials YouTube channel. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new videos. And please give the video a thumbs up if you want to see me share more of what I have on my needles or on my loom. I've got another weaving vlog in the works too. If you want to see more of Fatima Hinds designs, I will leave a lot of links in the video description, Etsy, Ravelry, and Instagram, so you can go check that out. And I'll also be leaving links for LolaBean Yarn Co. yarn. I believe that Adela may start doing some YouTube live streams, potentially. And so I'll go ahead and leave a link to the LolaBean Yarn Co. YouTube channel as well. Thank you so much for watching.